What's up, guys? This is TheKephas, and man, does it feel good to be sitting here recording a video. It's been a while since I've been in front of a microphone, and I'm really happy to be sitting here today for that very reason, because I wanted to hop on and sort of touch base with everybody and update everybody what's been going on in my life, why I've been away, and hopefully what I'd like to do to get back into the swing of things. So I want to try to cover all that stuff. And, first off, I do want to apologize for, being away, kind of the radio silence. Honestly, I'm not really good at talking about myself, not like focusing on my life, my business, and sharing my stuff out there with everybody. It's just not something that I'm naturally good at. So if I sound a little bit uncomfortable, that's why. But, like I said, it's been a while, and I feel like it was kind of the right thing to do to let everybody know what's going on and whatnot. And first off, to let everybody know that I'm doing okay. Everything's fine. Obviously I'm still here and healthy, and my family's doing great, and we're all very, happy and healthy together. But a lot has gone on over the past few months, and I kind of wanted to talk about it so that I could explain things a bit. So the big thing that's going on is that my wife and I have decided that we wanted to expand our family, and so that means that baby number 2 will be entering our household later this year, around Halloween time or so. So we're about halfway there now. And, the big thing with that is, obviously, besides just the transitional phase of having a kid, baby number 1, when he was born about a month and a half early. He couldn't wait to get here, and so he decided that he was going to get here earlier, and that kind of was scary. And basically what that means for kid number 2 is that my wife is a high-risk pregnancy, and that just means that doctors are going to keep a much closer eye on her, so like twice the doctor's appointments as the first kid, and a lot more checkups, just keeping track of things to make sure that this one isn't as restless and as impatient as the first one, right? That's kind of the idea. So that's kind of been a lot, obviously. And just in general, having a kid is a lot, and so that's kind of a big part of it. And, as baby number 2 gets here and we go through that, newborn phase and, young baby phase, it's going to be like it was before. But I'm hoping that like this time, we have much more of a grasp on what it's like to have a kid, and we have a lot more experience, more or less. And hopefully, that will allow me to sort of continue making content as time goes on. But obviously it's going to be touch and go for a while, but I'm still here, and I still fully intend to continue making videos and doing stuff for YouTube. So that's the big thing. But having a kid is not the only thing that's been going on. Shortly after we found out that my wife was pregnant, we were notified that we would be having to make some career changes, if you catch my drift. And obviously that is not the greatest thing to be needing to do shortly after you find out you're going to have a kid. And obviously that was kind of stressful, to say the least. I wouldn't say full-blown panic, but obviously a lot of scrambling. And okay, we got to get things taken care of here and get things in order. And so that was kind of a lot of where my focus has been and where our focus has been, obviously getting that under control, getting things in order, getting everything settled. And we've more or less done that. We're still transitioning a bit, but we've pretty much got things settled down. So that was obviously horrible timing, but sometimes that's how life goes. And that's kind of like a big part of where I've been, just dealing with all of that, together, 2 major things happening at the same time. That's how life seems to go a lot. Everything happens at once. And, because the fun never ends, one more thing, not too long after all that, our firstborn, we found out that he was anemic. And that came with actual fear and scare for us as parents. Obviously, we're new parents. He's our first kid, and we're learning a lot as we go. And so when we found, out that he wasn't feeling very well, and we had taken to the doctor and everything like that, and we found out he was anemic, it was scary. But the good news is he's pretty much made a full recovery. And the anemia is just a deficiency, iron deficiency. It happens a lot with young children and toddlers. So that was kind of reassuring. But it was just a matter of getting his levels back in order, and then he won't be anemic anymore and he'll be fine. So that's just kind of what we're doing. Just a slight change in some dietary stuff, and also making sure he gets some supplements every day, just stuff like that. And he's just going to keep getting checked on, and he's doing great. He's got a lot more energy. He's just pretty much made a full recovery, and we're very happy about that, obviously. So that was another thing just kind of happening all there at once. So it kind of there for a little while, it was just a very stressful time. made it very difficult to to continue to focus on making content. And so that's honestly a big part of that. All of that is just why I haven't been around. Like I said, I don't like to put my stuff out there in my business or whatever, or burden people with what's going on in my life. But there it is. And I feel like at the very least it should help provide context for people as to why I've been away, and why it will would be touch and go for a while. But I would like to get back into making content, honestly, and I do miss it very much. When I just kind of stopped, I was right in the middle of a project where I was making content for WoW. The new expansion was out, and I was trying to get out guides and macro videos for all the classes, and that was something that I fully intended to make my way through entirely, and then all that stuff happened to kind of all at once. And not only did I stop making content, but I also stopped playing WoW for the same reasons. And so I kind of wanted to talk about now, I guess, like what my plans are, what I'd like to hopefully do to kind of get back into the swing of things. And honestly, the big thing is, I haven't played WoW very much, but I actually started playing it again, and I was kind of feeling the itch to kind of come back and check it out, which honestly, that part of it was kind of good because I was kind of like ready to take a break anyways, even back then. And it's kind of cool to, take that break and now come back. And honestly, just getting back in and trying to catch up, figure out everything that's going on. There's a lot in the new expansion, and there's a lot of changes that have happened since I played. A lot of classes have changed. So the first thing that I want to focus on for I guess a project and content is I want to make all new macros. We're just entered a new patch. I think it's patch 10.1.5, and so there have been some class changes in this patch. So I would like to start from scratch and make all new macros, hopefully for every class and spec. My goal is to get through every class and then go back through and go through extra specs, hopefully getting through all of them, provided nothing happens, that takes me away. But my goal is to focus on mainly doing that right now. As for the rotation guides, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So I have some thoughts about rotation guides, honestly. And, I guess part of it is just my time right now. And part of it is, with the class guides with Dragonflight, they were a little bit trickier to make. And that's just because the talent trees are better now. And it creates a lot more opportunities for different types of builds, optional spells, and whatnot. And honestly, most classes have a different build depending on what type of content they're doing. So it creates it's a little bit more challenging to make a straightforward guide in some ways. It still can be done, but and I feel like I was doing it, and honestly, like you can't see the stats on the videos anymore from YouTube, but they were all doing very well, and I was getting a lot of good feedback. But the thing about World of Warcraft these days, at least in my experience, I guess being online and just my experience playing the game, is that people are very focused on a certain level of play and a certain level of rigid, I guess, play style, where people are very optimization focused, very I need the exact perfect flawless build, to play this game the way I want to or whatever. And I'm not going to fault people for that necessarily. But first off, that's not how I play. I don't really have an interest in do big high-end content. And so my class guides have always been designed to be here's an easy way to play for people who are just getting started. This is sort of like a baseline, very short, very simple introduction, because honestly, I don't know about anybody else, but if you ever go look up a class guide for WoW, those videos are half hour long, some less, but mostly a half hour long, if not longer. I've seen some over an hour long. And I don't know how you guys are about this, but whenever I look up a guide for anything in a video game or anything, I look up the shortest guide possible. When I was looking up, if I got stuck on a shrine in Tears of the Kingdom and I had to finally cave in after a long time to look up a guide, I was finding the guides that were short as possible. Just let me see what I need to do and then go on from there. And I feel like there are a lot of people that maybe play World of Warcraft and they have the same mindset. They don't want to sit through a half-hour long videos. Not saying those videos shouldn't exist, but just for a lot of people, they don't want to sit through that. A lot of people don't want to have to go to school to learn how to play a World of Warcraft. They don't want to graduate with a degree to be able to play WoW. You have to look up guides for your class that is like basically like a half hour to an hour long, and then you have to look up guides for all the raid fights, and that's another 6 hours of video watching that you have to do. You know, dungeon fights, and you know, all these guides that are super long. And I just kind of wanted to make really short and simple class guides for WoW, and I was doing what I could. You know, looking up the research for so that other people wouldn't have to was kind of the idea. And then simplifying them the best I could just to get people started. And honestly, I got a little bit of resistance. I don't want to say hate because I feel like that word's overused, honestly. But I did get a lot of resistance from people who had the mindset of, you know, this needs to be min-max focused. This is not telling me everything I need to know. I need the build that will do me the most DPS. And some of that even bleeds into my macros. I need a macro that'll get me to do the most DPS. And I'm going to push back on that one a little bit. Like, if you want to do the most DPS, don't be looking up macro videos. Don't be lazy, right? But, you know, but as for rotations, I get that some people want that, you know, but I'm not going to provide that. And I have no interest in providing that. I don't play the game at that level, but I can at least give people a baseline understanding for people that play the game casually or do light content or just getting into the beginner phase of it or whatever. You know, some people just want to know the basics, and that's where I would come in. So I don't give builds because I want people to make that decision themselves, and I don't, you know, I'm not going to focus on optimization because that's not how I play video games personally. But I think that for now, I'm just going to step away from making class guides because I don't know if there's a place for my guides in the WoW community anymore. There are times I wonder if there's a place for me in the WoW community anymore, to be honest with you guys. And so I'm going to step away from making class guides for now because I just like, I don't want to deal with the min-maxers, to be completely honest, at least for now. And just with my time, I think I just want to focus on making macros. I can put more time into those and try to get those out there because at least those can be there to help people who can use them to play the game that maybe need them. Maybe they have a disability or something. And it's also just kind of content that isn't really much out there. There's obviously WoW Lazy Macros. You can find a lot of stuff on there. But as for making videos and sort of explaining it, that's something that I can do specifically. And so for now, I'm going to focus on just making macros and then go from there in the future. So, you know, obviously I am open to feedback on that, and I am sorry if that disappoints some people. But like I said, it's just with the way WoW players can be, it's just like, I don't know. I'm more hesitant, I guess, right now to deal with it. You know what I mean? And so I'm just being completely transparent here. I don't mind criticism. It's not so much like dealing with criticism. It's just like wrestling with the mentality that is very different from a mentality that I have is really what it is. And it just seems like with WoW these days, it's so hyper focused on optimization that it's exhausting sometimes to even deal with it. And you deal with it when you play the game too, you know? So that's kind of where I am on that one. Now, as for other content, you know, I've been playing a little bit of Wrath Classic again. I've actually been having a little bit more fun with that right now than even Dragonflight. And I like Dragonflight. I think it's a good expansion, but there's something about like leveling up characters in Wrath and the way classes are designed that really catches me. So I am playing that. And if I can get characters leveled up reasonably, what I'd like to do is eventually make some macro guides for that as well. So that's something, but it's just a little bit trickier because it takes a really long time to level up characters in Wrath Classic. If I could catch a Joyous Journeys buff time period when I play, maybe I can get more work done. But that is something else I like to do down the road. Maybe by the time ICC gets here, I can maybe do something for Wrath Classic. Maybe we'll see. So yeah, that's kind of where I am with WoW. And obviously there's like this new thing happening in Classic with WoW Hardcore. I guess it's not super new, but it's new to me. And it looks kind of fun. I hear they're going to make some hardcore official servers. and that might be something that I will, casually get involved with. I'm not going to take it very seriously. I don't even know how far I'll make it, but I thought about maybe doing something like that for YouTube, maybe sharing my experience, trying to level up hardcore, not knowing much about it, but we'll see how it goes. But that might be something I do. And honestly, that's something that I've thought about maybe considering streaming, which is something else I want to talk about. I actually have had a lot of people for a long time really inquire about whether or not I stream. And I'm always flattered because I appreciate the interest. But streaming is something that I've never done, but it's something that I'm becoming more and more open to. And I know I'm very late to the dance. People have been streaming for many years. But for me, as a visually impaired person, there's just a lot of, logistical stuff, some details that I've been probably overanalyzing. The fact that like I wouldn't have a face cam because I sit very close to a TV screen and you just wouldn't be able to see my face. Being able to engage with chat while playing the game is something else that I've been trying to figure out how it would work. And then obviously just getting it all set up. I have the equipment, I have the capabilities. I just need to get it set up and give it a shot. So I think that's something that I would consider doing. And I do appreciate how many people are interested in that. I think that'd be fun to do. I like playing games and I've done Let's Plays, but to be honest, sadly, Let's Plays are kind of on the outs these days. They've kind of dropped in popularity. They tend to not do as well, which is kind of sad because I still kind of like watching Let's Plays personally. But it's just kind of the way things go. I guess streaming kind of came in and that's kind of the new way. That's the way the kids are doing it these days, and I can see why that real-time engagement, I guess, is very appealing for people. So it's something that I'm considering, and I'm seriously considering it. I'm going to maybe give it a shot. I think I might do it on YouTube because I'm already on YouTube. I don't know if I want to set up everything on Twitch. I don't know if I want to do that or not. So I might just stick to doing it on YouTube for now. But yeah, so I'll keep everybody updated on that. If I do decide that I'm going to stream or whatever, I will try to keep people updated. So basically, for now, I'm going to try to focus on, doing some macro guides as soon as I can, and then we're going to go from there. Now, as for the long-term plan, I really don't have much of one, but I will talk about, I guess, my mindset as a gamer these days and what I'd like to do with the channel overall. To be completely honest with everybody, and I don't mean this I hope I don't upset anybody by this, but I don't really see myself as a WoW exclusive gamer anymore, and I really don't want to be a WoW exclusive content creator either. WoW has been the big part of my channel for a very long time, and there was a time where I was playing WoW most of the time. It was pretty much what my gaming life was about. But as time has gone on over several years, really, even going back to Legion, but especially in Shadowlands when I really dropped off and just kind of quit playing altogether, I've come to appreciate taking breaks from MMOs and not sticking with live service games all the time. The way I see myself playing a game like World of Warcraft now is a couple months, and then taking a long break and then coming back later, maybe when there's a new patch or maybe when, there's a new expansion, depending on what I'm feeling. I do like to come back though, and I don't see myself ever really quitting World of Warcraft, but I also don't see myself going on many months at a time playing the game, getting into high-end content. I really don't see myself doing that. I think the only way I would ever raid ever again is if I found a group of friends to raid with, honestly. I don't see myself ever getting involved in random groups or anything like that. It just does not appeal to me at all. And honestly, even just chasing the same raid carrot again and again and again just doesn't really appeal to me anymore. And a big part of the reason why that is through taking a break, I've played other games. I've played a lot of other single player games. Last year, I played a ton of Elden Ring for a long time. I even did some videos on that, which actually did pretty well, for my channel. Honestly, I was very happy with those. And then just doing other games, playing a lot of classic retro games, and then playing some other new games. Got around to finally playing God of War. I finally gave Civilization 6 a try. Got really sucked in that for a couple months, and then discovered that I love a new genre of game, at least new to me, the 4X genre, and I picked up Age of Wonders 4, and that game's a lot of fun too. So I've discovered a whole new genre. This year, played Hogwarts Legacy with my wife. That was a lot of fun. We both played through that, and had our own adventures there, and kind of got to watch each other play. That was a lot of fun. Played some Zelda, the new Final Fantasy. I mean, there have been a lot of great games come out this year, and I'm just trying out so many different games. I have a huge backlog of games that I'm just now getting around to. Honestly, a big part of that is because of World of Warcraft, why I have a big backlog. So I'm finally playing games. I've been a gamer my whole life. I love video games. Besides my family, which is the most important thing in my life, and what like to spend most of my time with. Besides that, I play video games. That's what I do. That's what my life is all about. And I want to play a lot of different video games and experience them. And whatever I have the opportunity to share that experience on YouTube, that's what I'd like to do. Whether it's through streaming or Let's Plays or guides or whatever it is, I just want to share my experience. And so I like to open myself up a little bit to other types of games and play different games and have fun with that. And again, as a visually impaired gamer, share that experience. I had a lot of fun with Elden Ring because it was a game I was able to play in spite of having a disability without an easy mode, and that meant a lot to me. And sharing my mindset on that with people and having that well received meant a lot. So stuff like that, and just talking about gaming. And obviously, I'm open to any suggestions, any games that people would like to see me play, or topics people would like to see me cover. I'm always open. I'm not asking for people to come up with ideas for me. I want to come up with those as I go and go with what I'm feeling, honestly. But that's kind of the plan. So I'd like to maybe branch out a little bit in time. WoW will always have a place on my channel and in my life as a gamer. But I don't just want to do that anymore, And so I want to branch out maybe with other games, also consider streaming, and maybe both of those can open up different opportunities. But that's kind of my plan. I love gaming. Gaming is my passion. I like making videos, whether I'm getting 30 views or 30,000 views, I'm happy doing it. So I want to say thank you to everybody for being a part of my channel, and just sticking around and being concerned, and also just your interest in what I'm doing and on all the requests to make new macros. I'm going to try to get on those as soon as possible. Hopefully by the end of July, if not the beginning of August, I'll start getting some new guides out there. But like I said, I got to figure things out and get back into the swing of things a little bit. So I will try my best to get some new videos out as soon as possible. And I want to thank everybody for, like I said, for sticking around and for being patient. And I will do my best to get things out as soon as I can. So I'm open to any feedback. By all means, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Sorry for making a video about myself and about my channel and the meta style videos. It's not my favorite. I'll try my best to get back to making actual content soon. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys on the next one.